Hi there, I'm Dean Heskin, President and CEO of Swiss America Trading. Welcome to this episode of our podcast, Secret War on Cash. We have a special guest with us today, Wes Peters of Swiss America. Good morning, Wes, and thanks for being with us.
Hey, Dean. Good morning. How are you doing?
Doing well. Thank you so much. Great to have you. If you don't mind, Wes, tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do at Swiss America.
Well, a little bit about myself, my background. If we go all the way back, I spent 8 years in the Marine Corps as an aircraft mechanic on fighter jets. Got out of the Marine Corps, went back to school, got all my securities licenses, my insurance licenses, started doing financial analysis for people, helping them reach their financial goals and dreams. And then about April will be 15 years now. I came to Swiss America. It'll be 15 years ago in April. And just working with people each day, trying to, help them protect some of their hard-earned money.
Fantastic. Well, and I know you've been one of the top brokers and representatives at Swiss America for many years now. And Wes, we've been discussing on some of our previous podcasts this developing situation that's known as BRICS.
Right.
And it started with 5 countries looking to de-dollarize. Now the number of countries that have kind of jumped on board, if you will, is in excess of 20. It's now being reported that central banks, who have been longtime purchasers of gold already, are now doing even more purchasing of gold under the guise of trying to align themselves more so with the BRICS alliance, which is to say, kind of to de-dollarize themselves as well.
Right.
I guess the question I have for you, Wes, should this give us any reason to be concerned here in the U.S. as citizens, depositors, investors, et cetera, or is this just another cog in our financial system?
Well, I think we need to pay very, very close attention to this, Dean. If the people that control money around the world are not wanting to hold dollars and they're wanting to convert those dollars to physical gold, there's a reason for that. And what a lot of people need to realize about BRICS, you mentioned, there are going to be other countries joining in January of 2024, but these countries that make up BRICS, their GDP, their international GDP expected in 2024 is going to be almost $31 trillion, or basically 30% of the global share of GDP. Even looking at OPEC, these countries, their total representation of the crude oil industry, they're going to make up about 43% of the crude oil industry. To give you an example, right now, OPEC is 38%. So this is a powerhouse group that is not wanting to hold dollars, and central banks are, again, dumping those dollars. And that's why, a lot of people currently, that even people that would have never thought about gold before, are saying, hey, I better find out what's going on here, pay attention, and see if this makes sense for my personal situation to transition some of my dollars into physical gold. So yes, people should really take notice of this. Absolutely.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. And you kind of bring up a great point there. When you have this alliance that is getting stronger by the day, known as BRICS, and they're getting strongly largely because people are jumping on board. And the reason people are jumping on board is because they like the stability factor of gold. You couple that with central banks who, are buying up gold like crazy, as countries just individually are. It is something that I think the average U.S. citizen should be looking at as a means of diversifying as well, because there's a reason they're doing it. They're not doing it just for drill. They're doing it for a purpose, for a reason, and I think more specifically to, as the term has been used, de-dollarize, or kind of distance themselves from the dollar, because they don't think that the long-term prospect of the dollar is as good as certainly as it's been, and in the future, maybe even non-existent. So good information there. And what I recently read, which is on your screen if you're watching, or on the links, is where BRICS, or as they're calling it, the NDB, the New Development Bank, they have an actual plan to phase the dollar out in the next 3 years. And it's one thing to look for alternative currencies. That's pretty normal. I mean, you look at what's the best currency, the strongest currency, and you make that play. But to be as brazen as to say they want to phase it out, that seems aggressive to me. I personally, I can't see how the dollar survives something like that. I mean, what are your thoughts, Wes?
Right. Well, when you think about it, Dean, a lot of these countries that want to walk away from the dollar, we have imposed some big time sanctions on them.
Sure.
I think we currently have about $2 billion of Iran's money frozen. I know there's a big thing about, the money that was just released to them. We've seized almost $1 billion, over $1 billion from Russia since the Ukraine war started. And these countries, they would love nothing more than to weaken the U.S., our status around the world. And a way to really do that is to start dumping the US dollar, which they've made very clear. It's no secret. They're not being shy about it. And, I talk to people every day, Dean, that are concerned about going to this digital currency, about the US dollar converting to a digital currency. Now, that's something that could happen in the future, absolutely. But what we need to realize is this de-dollarization is taking place now. It is happening now. These countries are working out relationships with each other when they settle their business transactions in oil or whatever it may be. They used to convert to the dollar, the petrodollar, to make those transactions. They're all in agreement and working out ways to settle these transactions in their own currencies. There's even information out there about lending. When it comes to lending money to other countries, these countries used to do it in the dollar. They're not going to lend US dollars anymore. They're going to be doing these transactions in the local currencies. And when those dollars come back home to the US, you think inflation is bad now. I mean, the definition of inflation is too many dollars chasing the same goods and services. All those dollars start coming back to our shores. All bets are off when it comes to inflation.
Sure. Well, thank you for that, Wes. And this thing, I'm sure there'll be other opportunities for us to get together and have another chat as this BRICS, is gaining momentum like nobody's business.
Absolutely.
And it's, again, with them even calling out in 3 years they want to be completely dollar free. It's gaining momentum by the day, quite literally. So Thank you so much for joining us here today, Wes. I'm Dean Heskin. For those of you tuning in, appreciate you being with us here today as well. And for more information on BRICS or anything pertaining to the dollar, gold, or the economy in general, feel free to contact our offices. Our toll-free number is 1-800-289-2646, or you can visit us online at www.swissamerica.com. And feel free to comment on the podcast if you would. And to hear more episodes like this, please subscribe. And lastly, follow us on social media. We'd love to stay in touch with you through all the various platforms there as well. So thanks for tuning in. Wes, thanks for joining us, and look forward to having you soon.